A whirlwind of diplomacy, Trump's Middle Eastern overture. President Trump recently embarked on a significant diplomatic and economic tour of the Middle East. This journey saw him visit key nations in the region, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. The tour aimed to bolster American influence and forge new partnerships. The stated objectives were multifaceted, encompassing economic ties and security alliances. High-level discussions covered regional security and investment opportunities. The tour was marked by grand pronouncements and substantial commercial agreements. These agreements, particularly in technology and defense, were promoted as beneficial for American industry and job creation. The president's team focused on showcasing American enterprise and securing major deals. The backdrop of existing Trump family business interests in the region added complexity. It raised questions about the potential for blurred lines between public service and private gain. The tour represented a concerted effort to reshape American engagement in the Middle East. This involved reaffirming relationships with traditional allies and exploring new avenues for cooperation. However, the scale of the announced deals, and the nature of some partners, quickly drew attention. This attention set the stage for considerable debate back in Washington, and among international observers. The Saudi Arabian leg of President Trump's tour was particularly fruitful in terms of announced agreements. President Trump offered considerable praise for Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, often referred to as MBS. This public display of warmth accompanied the announcement of a strategic economic partnership. Saudi Arabia committed to investing $600 billion in the United States. Beyond economic commitments, a significant defense partnership was unveiled, valued at $142 billion. This aimed to bolster Saudi Arabia's military capabilities with American hardware and support. President Trump and MBS met with prominent business leaders, including representatives from major American technology companies. At the Saudi-US Investment Forum, President Trump spoke optimistically about the new generation of leaders in the Middle East. He expressed hope that Saudi Arabia would eventually join the Abraham Accords to normalize relations with Israel. A surprising development was President Trump's meeting with Ahmed al-Sharaa, the interim leader of Syria and a former jihadist. Following this meeting, Trump announced plans to lift sanctions on Syria. The sheer volume of financial commitments and strategic realignments announced in Saudi Arabia was substantial. The kingdom's pledge to invest heavily in the U.S. economy was presented as a major triumph. However, the meeting with al-Sharaa and the proposed changes to Syria policy introduced new complexities. President Trump's diplomatic mission extended beyond Saudi Arabia, with significant engagements in Qatar and the UAE. In Doha, Qatar Airways committed to a $96 billion deal for the purchase of up to 210 Boeing jets. This agreement was hailed as a significant win for American manufacturing and jobs. The Qatari visit also included important discussions on defense and security cooperation. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth signed several agreements with Qatari officials, focusing on enhancing defense collaboration. In the UAE, the focus was on advanced technology and future economic development. The Department of Commerce announced a new UAE-US framework on advanced technology cooperation. A key component was the plan to establish a 1-gigawatt AI data center in Abu Dhabi. Such ambitious projects highlight the UAE's determination to diversify its economy and become a regional leader in artificial intelligence. The engagements in Qatar and the UAE demonstrated the breadth of American interests across the Gulf. The Boeing deal with Qatar represented a major commercial success. The technology framework with the UAE pointed towards future partnerships in critical emerging fields. A central theme of President Trump's Middle East tour was the promotion of artificial intelligence partnerships. The administration announced multi-billion-dollar AI deals between U.S. technology companies and several Gulf countries. For instance, NVIDIA was reported to be shipping 18,000 of its advanced H100 AI chips to Saudi Arabia. AMD entered into a $10 billion partnership with Humane in Saudi Arabia. Amazon Web Services and Humane are jointly investing over $5 billion to create a dedicated AI zone in Saudi Arabia. Qualcomm signed a memorandum of understanding with Humane, further broadening the scope of U.S. corporate involvement. The Trump administration scrapped previous Biden-era restrictions on the export of advanced AI chips. The administration argued that these partnerships would benefit the U.S. economy and strengthen ties with strategically important Gulf nations. The Gulf states view AI as central to their economic survival and future prosperity. The deals with Nvidia, AMD, Amazon, and Qualcomm represent a significant transfer of cutting-edge American technology and expertise. While promising economic benefits and closer partnerships, the rapid proliferation of advanced AI capabilities in the region also raised questions about control, security, and the potential long-term geopolitical implications. Digital Dangers AI deals spark national security alarms. The ambitious AI deals announced during President Trump's Gulf tour quickly faced intense scrutiny in Washington. Significant fears began to surface among policymakers and national security experts. The primary concern was that China could potentially gain backdoor access to advanced US AI chips through the Gulf states involved in these new agreements. The House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party took swift action, introducing the Bipartisan Chip Security Act. This proposed legislation aims to prevent advanced US AI chips from reaching adversaries like China. Key provisions include mandates for location verification of AI chips and compulsory reporting by chip manufacturers regarding the end users of their technology. The Bureau of Industry and Security at the Commerce Department also issued new guidance requiring departmental approval for AI deals. This administrative measure sought to impose greater oversight on the export of sensitive AI technologies. Concerns were voiced that US companies might increasingly opt to build AI data centers in the Gulf, driven by attractive government subsidies. Such a shift could potentially reduce US control over critical AI infrastructure globally. Reports emerged that the Trump administration was considering a substantial deal involving the potential export of over 1 million advanced AI chips to the UAE. The sheer scale of this contemplated transaction amplified existing anxieties. Gulf states are likely to hedge their bets between the United States and China in their pursuit of AI capabilities. This pragmatic approach by Gulf nations further complicates US efforts to safeguard its technological advantages. The potential for sensitive American innovations falling into adversarial hands was a serious matter requiring immediate attention. A gift from Doha: the controversy of the Qatari Jet. Beyond economic and defense agreements, a personal controversy emerged involving President Trump and Qatar. Reports circulated that the president might accept a multi-million-dollar luxury jet from Qatar. This sparked criticism and raised ethical questions. Accepting such a gift is fraught with legal and political complexities. Chuck Schumer demanded more information and transparency. Democrats cited potential conflicts of interest and emoluments clause violations. Qatari Prime Minister downplayed the controversy, calling it a government-to-government transaction. House Speaker Mike Johnson said it was President Trump's decision to accept the plane. Converting the Qatari-owned Boeing 747 into Air Force One could cost over $1 billion. This highlighted significant financial and logistical implications. The Qatari offer added complexity to the diplomatic visit. Shadows of the past. 9/11's families confront the Saudi visit. President Trump's enthusiastic engagement with Saudi Arabia drew sharp criticism from families of the victims of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. 9/11's. Families United issued a powerful statement condemning President Trump's visit to the kingdom. Terry Strada, the national chair of 9/11's Families United, stated that the families will not stand silently by while Saudi Arabia continues to deny its alleged involvement in the 9/11's attacks. The criticism from the 9/11's families served as a stark reminder of the complex and often troubled history underpinning the US-Saudi relationship. The families' voices ensured this aspect was not forgotten amidst the fanfare of new agreements. Storms at home. Domestic political challenges for Trump. Upon his return from the Middle East, President Trump faced a series of pressing domestic political challenges. One significant issue was growing opposition to his proposed tax and budget bill. Nearly a dozen House Republican hardliners, including Representative Chip Roy, voiced their intent to oppose the legislation. Another controversy emerged concerning data sharing between federal agencies. A federal judge unsealed a memorandum of understanding between Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. The memo allows ICE to obtain addresses from the IRS for individuals under criminal investigation. Civil liberties advocates raised concerns about privacy and potential misuse of sensitive taxpayer information. Adding to the administration's challenges, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem publicly discussed the possibility of suspending habeas corpus for individuals detained for unlawful immigration. This suggestion drew immediate and sharp criticism, highlighting serious constitutional questions. Balancing act weighing ambition against accusation. President Trump's recent diplomatic and economic foray into the Middle East presents a complex picture. The tour achieved notable successes in terms of announced deals. Billions of dollars in investments were pledged by Saudi Arabia, major defense contracts were secured, groundbreaking AI partnerships were initiated across the Gulf. These developments were presented by the administration as triumphs for American business and strategic influence. However, these achievements were accompanied by serious concerns and criticisms. The AI deals triggered national security alarms. Fears of China gaining access to advanced U.S. technology through Gulf intermediaries led to calls for tighter controls. Ethical questions loomed large, particularly concerning the reported offer of a luxury jet to President Trump by Qatar. The strong condemnation from 9/11's victims' families regarding the president's warm engagement with Saudi Arabia served as a poignant reminder of unresolved historical grievances. Ultimately, the legacy of this Middle Eastern tour will be judged by its long-term consequences. The strategic goals of bolstering American influence and fostering economic prosperity are clear. Yet the criticisms regarding national security vulnerabilities, ethical propriety, and historical sensitivities cannot be easily dismissed.